As of the day of recording this video, August 3rd, Splitgate 2 has gone through a wild series of events that I find mystifying and fascinating. Its latest big move was unlaunching itself, which may sound odd, and that's because it is, but this is a history video, so we will get there. But first we have to go back, and back we shall go to the first Splitgate game. Splitgate 1 was a game that I never did play. I saw clips of it and thought it looked cool. Somewhere along the way I was caught up in other games at the time and I straight up forgot about the game. But for those that did play, they found a game calling back to the old days of arcade arena shooters. Splitgate was designed for fun and being over the top. Integrating portals into a Halo-style game was the focus of developers 1047. When Splitgate 1 launched in a demo phase during 2019, it found a strong early reception. This was able to springboard 1047 to finishing the game fully and sending the game to beta not only on Steam, but on consoles as well in 2021. This was a huge hit for 1047, who found that their game was unable to handle the server capacity required. They battled to get this fixed, and in about a month they had it under control. So now a month into its launch window, Splitgate was stable from a server standpoint and had a strong player base, which stemmed from a reported 600,000 downloads coming from its first week alone. It is also said that across the board on all consoles and Steam, there were at a time more than 2 million active daily users. During 2025's Summer Games Fest, during the launch of Splitgate 2, co-founder of 1047 Ian Prue stated that 20 million players played the first game. A running total through its whole life of 20 million is also awesome. Those are great numbers that any indie dev team would clamor for. This was not meant to last though, as the game steadily declined over the course of the next year, leaving a relatively empty player base after that. We are going to reference our good friend Steam charts and see what player counts looked like on Steam. Before that, the spiel that everyone has to say when referencing Steam charts. These numbers do not account for all players. Steam is often the lowest in terms of raw player count. These charts are only used to extrapolate the trend that consoles were likely facing at the same time. Whew, that out of the way, let's get into those Steam charts. Splitgate 1 is essentially dead right now. Even with the announcement that it would be shut down in just a few weeks from this moment, that part is a little surprising. It is often seen that once a game is announced to be shutting down, players will try to jump in for one last play before lights out. Even more surprising is when it happens to a once beloved game, and Splitgate was that. Not even the looming death is enough to drive players back to Splitgate 1. The interest simply isn't there. So, as for the past numbers, we had the initial demo launch in May of 2019, and it had a peak of almost 12,000 players. The best time is what happened 2 years later in July and August of 2021. July was not the peak, with the game coming at the very tail end of the month and being plagued by server issues. Once word got out and the servers were stable, August came and showed a great reception with a peak of 67,724 players on Steam. This is a massive jump from the demo numbers, but quickly fate showed its ruthless hand. A month after that, it faced a 65% drop, another month and a 61% drop, then a 41% drop, then a 27% drop, and suddenly, after only 5 months of life, the game was down to a peak of less than 4,000 players. If you look forward to a little over a year after launch, Splitgate dipped to below 1,000 peak players and it would never rise above that again. The focus of this video is not on Splitgate 1 though, so I won't dwell here too long. What this game showed was that Splitgate garnered a lot of interest, but ultimately didn't have the staying power to keep it around. This is where the surprise sequel became so shocking. Like I previously mentioned, I had mostly forgotten about Splitgate 1 without ever playing it. I heard that Splitgate 2 was coming and the beta was only a few days away at the time. It had my attention now. I was curious though if the game did come up this suddenly or if I simply missed the marketing leading up to that point. Turns out it was just me. Not being tuned into the Splitgate world left me in the dark, but meant I got a nice surprise. What happened was that after seeing how well the first Splitgate went, 1047 was able to bring in money from that game and investors to ultimately make Splitgate 2. They said it was their focus starting in 2022, and then announced that it was coming 2 years later in June of 2024. Jump to a year later and bam, it's June 2025 with Splitgate 2 in the hands of eager players. How was it received and what could have possibly happened to cause this unlaunch to take place? There are many things that can be said, so I figure the best place to start is with that Summer Games Fest I mentioned earlier. Ian stepped on the stage with a BFB and a hat stating, "Make FPS great again." I understand that this rubbed people the wrong way for the particular political figure it references or is inspired from. I would like to argue, however, a crazy idea. This isn't a political statement, and the backlash was overkill. This is a hat, which the sole statement is about making FPS great again. And how Ian spoke also backed this. He only spoke on games and what he was yearning for and what drives him to make a game like Splitgate 2. The point of the hat being styled the way it was to get people talking, and it certainly did that. I think the backlash was a bit much at the time. However, I can't say it's surprising, and 1047 probably should have seen that one coming. Hindsight is, 2020 and all, so they should have seen it coming. Not their best idea, but we move on. I felt I couldn't make this video without at least mentioning this as part of Splitgate's 2 history because, fair or not, it is. The other nugget from Summer Games Fest was prodding at the other big games in the FPS world, by name, calling out Halo and COD as they stand, and then calling out Titanfall 3, which was scrapped, and him saying he had a desire for that to come out, just like many other players. We'd love to see Titanfall 3. Again, perhaps not the best choice to call out the Titans, but Ian is nowhere near the first person frustrated with these games. He was speaking what all of us are already saying or thinking ourselves, so I don't know why this was such a big deal. Both of these things are part of Splitgate 2's history, and they came right at the full launch of the game. Definitely not the best in terms of public relations. People did not like how they handled this, and so the game already was off to a bad start when people had this sour taste in their mouth about the Summer Games Fest. Moving on to things I am more interested in talking about than petty back and forth banter, the meat and potatoes of 1047's Summer Games Fest was announcing the full launch of Splitgate 2 right out of the current beta, and alongside that, the launch of the Splitgate Battle Royale. Oh, there we go. Now we have something tangible to reference back to when some of the other issues with the core game come up soon. Keep this Battle Royale in the back of your mind. It will be back before you know it. Splitgate 2 is here. Just like Splitgate 1, it's the child of Halo and Portal, but now with Splitgate 2, add in Black Ops 3 with the jetpack movement. I'll be the first to say it. On paper, this is a game basically built just for me. And look at that, I do love this game. But it seems I am not in the majority considering how things went. The Steam charts for Splitgate 2 are concerning, obviously, with the peak at launch only pulling 25,674 players. This peak is only 38% of the peak of the first Splitgate. What's worse is that even while starting low, it then faced an earth-shattering 80% drop in players for July, with only 4,559 peak players. That is undeniably devastating, and I would love to see the actual numbers on console for this. All I can find is a tweet stating that the numbers for console tripled from beta to launch day, which is great, but tripled doesn't mean much without the context of the starting number. Also, doesn't mean that much when it would crash by possibly 80% if it was anything like Steam after that tripling. So the triple really wouldn't matter anymore, right? I can say that from what I can find with Steam numbers, the beta launch was double, so it is feasible at any rate that the console saw a triple because Steam did see a double between beta and launch. Regardless, the game started off good, but not great, and quickly plummeted into, oh god, this is bad. The big question is why, and I think there are a few reasons directly within the game, and another two relating to outside forces acting upon Splitgate 2. First up are the issues directly within the game. A big one for me, and many others, was and is the monetization within Splitgate 2. Right off the bat, I want to say that while yes, the store prices were way too high, 1047 was quick to respond to that and dial things back down. That is good. A dev team listened to their community and took action quickly to fix an issue. For that, I do give them props. It was an issue and shouldn't be forgotten, but it is good that they addressed it. The issue that I still have with the monetization is the multiple currency BS. There are 3 different currencies inside Splitgate 2. The first are your Battle Pass tickets. They are earned through challenges and allow you to select rewards on the different screens of the Battle Pass. This one isn't bad because it's earned by playing, not paying. The other two are premium currencies, which are called Splitcoin and Prolium. Splitcoin is purchased or earned within a battle pass and then used for different cosmetics within the shop. It is the prototypical premium currency that you would expect in almost any game now. Prolium is a completely different story. You can earn it in battle passes, but you can also purchase it. To purchase Prolium though, you have to use Splitcoin to do so. So if you want to buy it, you have to figure out how much Splitcoin you want first, and then you have to convert it into Prolium. Come on, what are we doing? Then the uses for Prolium are pretty garbage anyway. You can get skin variants with them, take a standard Arrows AR and turn it red for 10 Prolium, or turn it green for 10 Prolium. Stuff like that. This is completely unnecessary and a waste of time and money for players. I had to look up what Prolium actually was for and how to use it in-game because I couldn't just figure it out by shifting through the menus. I get it, company has to make money, but also you can't make money if players don't even understand your currency system. Apex Legends and Overwatch 2 have the same issues with convoluted, messy, multi-currency systems. It is a garbage system and it has to go. 1 or 2 currencies at most in a game. Leave it at that and figure out how to work your shop around it. Moving on from monetization, because I could talk myself to death about it, let's go on to another big issue in the game, which is progression. There isn't a ton of a reason to keep playing. They improved this with the mastery skins that came shortly after launch. Now there is a goal that you can chase for each weapon. When I level up, I want to feel rewarded. When I level up a gun, I want to have access to things that seem to make my gun better. You level up your character and it doesn't take that long, but through that you unlock perks and weapons. The perks are okay, they help, but not a ton really. The weapons are fine, you have a few to select from. The attachments once you level up your gun aren't anything special. I just run extended mag always because it is the most noticeable difference. Then I usually run rapid fire, which basically does nothing, but I like to tell myself it is helping so I feel better. Well, I finish up one class and have to move on to the next. Now I have to level up and unlock the same kind of perks and level up to unlock new weapons, which are all the same kind of weapons as the other class, but with a different coat of paint. There isn't much reason there to reach out and level up. I don't feel interested in branching out that much because nothing calls to me from another class that stands out in a meaningful way. If progression can be made more rewarding, it could make a huge difference. Stuff like more variation to weapon types or power or look or feel, more variation to the perks that you can get access to, more variation to the attachments you can get access to, make the attachments a little bit better so they're more noticeable and feel like you actually earned this thing that improved your game. On the other end of the spectrum is progression for cosmetic reasons. Let's use the closest match to Splitgate with Halo. Back in the olden days, you could do some crazy challenges and leveling up to unlock this hyper-exclusive armor. Armor that showed how badass you were and how much you played. It was a long, tough road, but at the end of it, you got a really cool reward. In recent Halo games, these types of progression and rewards have been missing or largely diminished, and it's been a big complaint. Splitgate 2 doesn't have anything at all that makes me want to grind away for a specific thing for the specific reward. I like the mastery camos, but they don't blow me away. I doubt that they will keep me super invested long term because the challenge is pretty straightforward and the reward is good but not great. It is absolutely better than nothing, and 1047 is on the right track, but progression needs work. It needs more. That is a theme of this game. It needs more. It came up right there at the end, but another big reason this game struggles is because there just isn't enough stuff across the board right now. There aren't enough abilities, there aren't enough classes, there aren't enough weapons or attachments, there aren't enough rewards, there aren't enough maps, there aren't enough this, that, and the other thing. This point leads into those outside forces I mentioned. Here is where that Battle Royale is going to come up again. It is no secret that a Battle Royale is a tough game to make. It takes a lot of time and resources. Now, make that Battle Royale consist of multiple maps strung together fluidly through portals with people bouncing between worlds all match. Yeah, that is probably a technical nightmare to make happen. I'll say that the Battle Royale of Splitgate is good. It just isn't great, and it won't stand out enough to break into that market. The problem with making a battle royale that is only good is that now you've dumped a massive haul of resources into something that isn't feeding back. I imagine that this is a large part of the problem with Splitgate 2. I think this is how it went down. 1047 was able to get massive funding from investors that they didn't have while making the first Splitgate. The problem with people investing money is that they usually want some of that back at the end of it all. Now the pressure is on. An arena shooter isn't super marketable or broadly appealing in this day and age, so now the investor whispers in your ear, "Make Fortnite. Those kids love it. It makes money." So you agree to get the funding and make a battle royale that can make money. Now at the end of the day, you have Splitgate 2 the arena shooter and Splitgate 2 the battle royale. Both are good, but they don't gel together to make something great. The arena shooter side is lacking features and depth. The battle royale is a battle royale that exists in a market where it will get snuffed out. Realistically, they should have never made the battle royale. Keep the scope of your game smaller. Keep the budget smaller. Keep development tight and focused on the arena shooter. Do an arena shooter and do it well. Make it great and carve out more of your niche. If you can do that with less cost and be able to provide more for your players of that core game mode, then you are a major step closer to a strong game. Not a Titan, but a game that can last longer than a month. Our other outside force pushing on Splitgate 2 relates more to players and the gaming market as a whole. There are more choices than ever for players when it comes to what games they want to play. More developers than ever pushing out more games than ever. The goal is of course to punch through the flood and stand out tall above the rest. This is a remarkably hard feat to accomplish and only some can make it happen. The Titans do it. COD, Battlefield, Halo, they're struggling though recently too. These FPS giants run this shitty town and they are the reason it is shitty. But that doesn't stop people from playing them. My point is, people have limited space in their minds and hearts for games. FPS multiplayer enjoyers likely already invest their time in the game of their choosing, and trying to weasel your way in there will fail more often than it succeeds, and this game is more proof of that. I think Splitgate 2 is well polished and extremely fun. That is the base work for an amazing game, and yet it's clinging to life only 2 months into its life. Making an expensive game stick around is so difficult because low player counts can force a studio to cut their losses and shut down, which may not be the worst idea for them because in almost every case, if you see these kind of drops in numbers or even the lackluster launch and then still a massive bombshell drop, you're likely not coming back from the brink. I believe that to be the ultimate truth of Splitgate 2. I do believe this is a great game that I have had fun playing. I stand by it, but it doesn't have the traction to maintain itself long term. It happened with the first game, and it is happening again. You have to come out of the gates with an amazing game and hope it grabs momentum that can be ridden into the future. If your game is not perfect or isn't a novel concept, then it is going to struggle. Two great examples are PUBG and Fortnite. They aren't the first battle royales to be made, but they blew up like previous ones never did. They went with a lesser known at the time concept and made it fun. The games were not perfect at release, especially not PUBG, but they were fresh and so they were given the grace of time to improve. Now look at Fortnite. It is a titan of gaming and culture that can't be stopped. PUBG itself isn't a titan, but it has held on to an impressive player base all these years after release. The problem with Splitgate is that the battle royale it offers is a hunger that gamers are already being satisfied with from other games like Fortnite, PUBG, Warzone, or others. The arena shooter side is likely fed to gamers by Halo already, and maybe even some other hero shooters like Overwatch where it's more compact, action-packed gaming. It seems like maybe arena shooters kind of evolved into these hero shooters, and if somebody liked arena shooters, they may very well like the hero shooters now too, and don't really feel like they need Splitgate anymore. Gamers have already gotten invested in other games, and Splitgate isn't different enough or deep enough to keep players around long term. That leaves us here in the current day where Splitgate 2 has been unlaunched, meaning it is back in beta state. This is an incredibly rare thing to happen. Most often the game either stays live in full release while devs scramble to fix things, or it is fully taken down and shelved, never to be seen again. Here is the rare moment where Splitgate 2 is still playable and is exactly how it was before the unlaunch, aside from being called a beta again. The devs are planning to rework many game systems like progression, monetization, maps, and more. These are easily the biggest complaints, but you really didn't need to call this a reversion to beta to make these things happen. Keep the game live and promise to fix these things before doing anything else. All you've done now is show how hard you're scrambling and that there's a better than not chance that Splitgate 2 is dead. Dead before it ever had a chance to live. As of now, this is the short but already complicated history of Splitgate 2. I wish 1047 the very best of luck in bringing Splitgate 2 back. I have my doubts that it can come back, but I will be supporting them and playing it while they get working. Thank you for watching, and comment down below what you think of Splitgate 2. Is it a good game? Can it come back? Will it come back? I look forward to reading those. Farewell, until next time.